This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome. I am so glad that you are here. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host of this show, this podcast, From Destruction to Dignity. Clinical perspectives, spiritual truths. You know me. There are three things I like to do: provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention. I am so excited about the people that are pursuing intervention, and they have given me their testimonies about it. Glory to God. Kudos to you. I shout out to you who are doing that. I had someone to email me on my website, JanicePons.com, and they told me, I never understood about narcissism. Thank you for your podcast, your show on breaking free from a narcissist. And they just said to set them free. Well, that's good. That's good. Good self-care, provoking thought, bringing awareness, pointing people towards intervention. Speaking of the need to point people towards intervention, of course, this is fair use. We've got a crisis in our nation. I love my doctors, my colleagues that I work with. I love them. I love them. They know I do. I've got their back. Across this nation, we're dealing with something. It's a crisis. Tonight, we're going to talk about doctors in crisis. I think in the last 3 months or so that I've done probably four episodes about issues going on with doctors. Our medical personnel, a lot of them are in crisis. Listen, they are in crisis, and this is what they say is contributing to the crisis that they're in. We're talking about doctors in crisis. I have an amazing doctor. Hi, Dr. Place. He's amazing. Dr. Place is amazing. Christopher Place. Amazing. And I talked to him about, Dr. Place, I need you to take care of yourself because we need you. And he's into self-care. And so he encourages me to do the same. Now, I need Dr. Place and I need all of our medical personnel. We need them well. But they are citing that workplace violence is contributing to them getting out. The surgeon here in Tulsa was shot by a disgruntled patient. That man shot 2 doctors. He was coming after a particular one, Dr. Preston, that happened over there near St. Francis. We know about that. That happened last year. I think 5 people total ended up dead. Yeah, 2 doctors, a receptionist, a patient that was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then the man killed himself. 5 people. Violence. So we had here in Tulsa, it struck our city, a disgruntled patient dealing with issues with pain. There was a doctor in India. This is going on all around the globe. A doctor in India was beaten up by a group of bereaved family members. Their family member died. They blamed the doctor. They beat him up. There was a general practitioner in the United Kingdom who was threatened to be stabbed. Healthcare workers across the globe are experiencing violence at work. This used to not be a trend, but it is now. There was a study that was done that identified this trend, and it found that 25% of healthcare workers that were polled were willing to quit because of this type of violence. We don't need 25% of our medical personnel out of the flow of providing care. That's staggering. That is staggering. It's appalling. It's staggering. And so there was a violence study of healthcare workers and systems. This study was one of the what was led by Dr. Rahul Kashyap. Dr. Rahul Kashyap and some other medical leaders, they polled an international sample of physicians, nurses, and hospital staff, and they found a trend across the globe. Burnout in record numbers with our doctors, our nurses. It's a nursing shortage where I work. They need nurses. They need certified nurse assistants. Hospital staff. Why do we need to be talking about this? Because we need our other medical personnel, we need policymakers, we need the public to mobilize and intervene before it's too late. We need our doctors, we need our specialists. We don't need them burn out. Some of them are committing suicide. I did one on a show. You all look back, if you look back on my YouTube page, and I asked you to go to my YouTube page and hit subscribe. Do that for me. Okay, Janice Pons on YouTube. Okay. You look back, I did one about sexual assault. This is how they are not handling their stress and their burnout appropriately. Sexual assault. Some are even, I have one on there, a profile of a medical murderer. They are that overwhelmed that they revert to those types of behaviors. Yeah. So, might we need to be paying attention to our doctors? Should policymakers be keyed in? How many need to fall out and burn out and not be available? And we need their knowledge. We need their skills. We need their intervention. We need their support. And they need ours. Workplace violence directed at U.S. healthcare workers is 5 times that of workers in other industries. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 5 times higher. That's concerning. I work in hospital settings. I work with doctors. I make a big deal out of my doctors that I work with. They have knowledge, skills, tools, information, interventions that I've seen save lives. I have great respect for them. The same study that showed that 5 times that healthcare workers were 5 times more likely to experience workplace violence, the same study found that attacks had increased 63%. 63% from 2011 to 2018. Whoa, that's a staggering increase. The pandemic, my God. The poll that focused on the pandemic showed that nearly half of U.S. nurses believe that violence increased once the world shut down. Yes, the world shut down. Don't even get me started on that. That's a whole other show. Keep going, Janice. Well before the pandemic, there was a study from the Indian Medical Association. They found that 75% of doctors experience workplace violence in India. That's a lot of doctors. So it's trends. I pay attention to trends because trends affect thoughts. Thoughts affect behavior. Behavior results in actions. What are the results? What's the outcome of those actions. So they look across the globe. They take an examination and analyze what's going on in Asia, the Middle East, South America, North America, and Africa. And the trends are across the board. It's across the board. God help us. Help our medical personnel. Doctors are in a crisis. They're dropping out. They can't take it anymore. So what do? What do? They're committing suicide. Suicide, my experience in the field that I work in, when I've dealt with people who have attempted suicide, I've said this before, but it's worth repeating right here. It's not a wish to die. 99% of the people that I've dealt with that had attempted suicide, it was not a wish to die. It was for them. It was a quick way to end suffering. There are a whole lot of ways to address suffering. These doctors, some of these doctors that are in this position where they see that as an option out, they are suffering. A lot of them are burnt out. They need mentors. They need support. They need to be able to talk with their peers in a safe and confidential setting that can alleviate stress. They need to give a language to where they are. They have to locate where they are. They can't get to where they need to go unless they can honestly identify where they are. That's a part of the therapeutic process. If they have experienced workplace violence, they've been traumatized, and they need to be talking to the right people. They need to be talking to the right. Do they need prayer? Yes. They need more than that as well. They need to have the opportunity to discuss strategies that effectively combat burnout. When a person has been subjected to trauma, particularly if it becomes complex trauma, you just can't have anybody dealing with it. I am not backing off of this. I know people that are interacting with people that have serious mental health issues, and they are not trained to handle these complex issues, and they end up opening up people. They say the wrong things. I've heard it come out of people's mouths. I'm like, that's the last thing that needs to have been said. It wounded the situation. They wounded the person more. You really have to know certain things. So you can't open them up and then you don't know how to bring closure. Okay? So it's really important. We need skilled, my son and I have been engaged in some very deep conversations about strategizing. It's a shortage. It is a shortage of mental health professionals, and we need skilled, anointed people that are empowered by the Spirit of the living God, and they are trained and they know how to deal with trauma. If you haven't been skilled and if you're not skilled and trained in how to deal with trauma, don't start. I respectfully submit. Do not start. Do not open up their souls thinking that if you just read that section and fill that out. No. It's way more involved than that. So let's get back to the doctors. I felt like I needed to say that. Someone needed to hear that because there's some serious stuff going on out here. Real serious. I know about it. And I've heard people who've been subjected to it. And it's reckless. It's some reckless stuff going on. We don't want our people subjected to that. We want them to get what they need. physician burnout. How do we navigate it? How do we face it? At any stage of a doctor's, we're talking about doctors in crisis, at any stage of their career, going from medical school, it's grueling, man. It's just grueling. And at any stage of their career, from medical school through their retirement, they can just become totally overwhelmed, and they just think that suicide is the way out. With a little self-awareness, physicians may be able to identify what do they need to be looking at. What do we need to be aware of? I want my doctor, well, that man is good at what he does. I pray for him. You know, at the end of whenever I see him, he prays for me. I love that whole practice. Over there is that In His Image is connected with them here in Tulsa. They pray. But those are some skilled people, knowledgeable people. They know what they're doing. And they incorporate faith in what they do. I appreciate that. I'm a prime candidate for that. I appreciate that. But I need my doctor and all other doctors that I work with and all other doctors that are in the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. We want them to be able to identify the emotional, physical, and behavioral signs of burnout. Emotional, physical. There's spiritual signs too. There are specific signs. And I can recognize them in a hot second, and I don't have a problem. I'm like, come here. Here. What's going on? Some people, they will literally break down if you just simply ask that question. And once they do, where are we going to take them from there? What are some signs of burnout with our doctors who are in crisis? Loss of motivation. It is gone. I was talking to someone earlier, and they were saying they were with their PCP, and they were like, that PCP was depressed. They were depressed. And depression, we know signs and symptoms of depression. All of us get down, but the key is if it goes on for 2 weeks or longer. Loss of motivation is a symptom of burnout. Feeling helpless, hopeless, trapped, defeated, pervasively. All of us have bad days. We just do. We have challenging days. Detached. So detached, people might not even remember exactly what just happened. Who did I see? Detached. Increase sense of being cynical or negative. Just a negative outlook. Symptoms of being burnt out. Decreased satisfaction or sense of accomplishment. It's just not there. And that would be a field that you would think that would be a pervasive pattern, that they feel satisfied that they helped someone or that they accomplished helping someone to improve their health or identified a specific problem, diagnosis, okay? But it's not there. It's decreased. Feeling tired and drained most of the time. We need them to be alert, but that's what they're dealing with. Symptoms of burnout. Tiredness that does not respond to adequate rest. They getting rest. They're knocked out, tired, but they wake up tired. They stay tired. Their immune systems, their immunity is lowered. We're talking about symptoms of burnout. Frequent headaches, muscle aches, just hurt all the time. Change in appetite or sleep patterns. They can't go to sleep or just sleep all the time. Withdrawal from responsibilities. Not getting their dictations done, not able to follow up with getting their notes. They're just patterns. They can't establish the patterns that maintain the patterns that they used to have to get their job done. Isolating from others. Wait a minute. Why are you by yourself all the time now? Don't want to be with the family. Don't want to do anything. Don't want to be with friends. Don't want to go to church. Don't want to be around others. Procrastinating. Just putting something off. Putting it off. Putting it off. Putting it off. And I'm going to tell you this thing about procrastination. It's like at work, I'll go through this. It's like, okay, Janice, what do you need to do right now that's going to connect with something that someone else has to do? If I don't do that now, I'm holding them up. That really serves me well to not procrastinate. Because certain things, it's, I'll take care of that tomorrow. But certain things, it's like, if I don't get that done, I'm holding them up from accomplishing what they need to do. So when you get in a pattern where you don't even think that way, who cares? Procrastination, that's a concern. Skipping work or coming in late or leaving early, a habitual pattern of that burnout, okay? So we're just talking about being aware, provoking thought, being aware, and then we want to look at intervention too. So speaking of intervention, how do we combat burnout? We're talking about our doctors in crisis. I'm telling you, we're going to have a shortage here real soon. We're starting to have it already. I know the trends. I see what in the circles I'm in. I see what's going on. I see there's a shortage of licensed professional counselors. There's a shortage of mental health personnel, shortage of nurses, shortage of doctors. There's a shortage. So burnout is contributing to that. To overcome doctors' reluctance to ask for help, a lot of times they don't ask. I respectfully submit that leaders should stand ready. They should have protocols. They should have programs. They should have an established response of how they're going to offer a colleague the support that they need if they begin to show any sign of burnout. Sometimes people just need to hear that you acknowledge there's something going on. Come here. You got some things going on. I'm very sensitive to that with, I'm a supervisor, I'm a director. I'm very sensitive to that with the people in my department, with the people around me. Sometimes you just need to, they just need to know you're keyed in. I know I sense that you got some things going on. What's going on? I'm here for you. What's going on? Talk to me. And sometimes they're just people, I'm not necessarily saying the ones I work with, but sometimes people just hearing that, they break down and cry. It's an open door. It's an open door. Listen, being burnt out doesn't mean you're bad or weak. A lot of guys have been taught that lie, that if they're overwhelmed, it's like, weak, I gotta be strong. Gotta be strong for the family. Pastors, doctors, all kind of folk are dealing with this. We're talking about doctors. Stay focused on doctors, Janice. It's important that people who are experiencing that they can realize that it's temporary. And here's the key where you can let them know that it's temporary. You let them know that we're going to address it. We're not going to pretend like it's not going on. It's like, wait a minute, hold on. Let's circle the wagons here. Let's give this some attention. But good, strong organizations with backbone, they already have a system in place to address that. And it's okay to get counseling. Look, you know me. I am a proponent of the therapeutic process. We have EAP, Employee Assistance Programs. I started a treatment program, that 30-day program where 87% of the people were clean and sober and gainfully employed 6 months later. I was directly connected to meeting the needs of American Airlines in that program. Because I knew what the lady who was in charge, I knew what she needed. And she was dealing with an engineer who was supposed to do the final check to say that the plane that was leaving at 6 a.m. in the morning was safe to fly. Oh, he drunk. What time is it? Oh, 6 a.m. He's drunk. We need to talk. Get counseling. Sit down, sir. Look at me. We're talking about the Department of Transportation here. We're talking about keeping our citizens safe, okay? So, you make a good salary? Okay, let's talk about how you can maintain that. And most of all, how you can get well. Get counseling. Skilled people that know how to take you there. Reassure individuals that he or she can get the help without fear of negative professional repercussions. One of the most powerful things that I ever saw was when I went to a support group, Al-Anon. Al-Anon is for the loved ones of those who have family members that were dealing with addiction issues. And I lost my immediate family, all 4 brothers and my father, and it was connected to how their bodies got worn down because of alcohol and or drugs. Alcohol is a drug. Alcohol is a drug. Don't get mad with me because I said that. It's a drug. And then we have other drugs too. We have cocaine. We have opiates. We have methamphetamine. Alcohol is a drug. Beer, liquor, wine, hard liquor, spirits. So, being able to get that professional help without there being any repercussions is important. And so what do we need to be talking about it. Instead of don't be talking about that. Why not? How many caskets do we have to roll inside the church before we get it? That's the first sentence in my next book. That's the first sentence in my 3rd book. How many caskets do we have to roll inside of a church for us to get it? We want to prevent that scenario. We want to prevent that scene, and it's preventable. Some practices offer doctors and people that needed the services of a personal coach, sometimes a medical director or other individuals in the physician's department who will listen and offer guidance. They need guidance. They need intervention. They need us to recognize that they need help, that engineer that's supposed to be checking off to say that it's okay for a pilot to be flying a plane that's supposed to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning and he's drunk. You think we need to be paying attention to that? Well, we know what? We know what? We know that he is in a position where other people are not safe. Intervention. Preventing burnout. Listen, we need to allow them. Look, I wish I could set up some stuff. Put me in charge of the whole thing. You know what I would do? Carve out time for them to be able to exercise. It's built in their day. They on the clock, let them exercise for 30 minutes. Get that heart rate up. Break that stress off of them. Have that physical activity. It's going to improve their sleep. It's going to help them maintain a healthy weight. Read something that's non-medical on their downtime. Even if you have to catch up on some latest medical news in your spare time, spend 10 minutes just enjoying something that's non-medical. You just got to take a break. Focus on family time. I tell you, actually building it in that, look, you need to, okay, this is your day when you getting off early. What y'all do? You got the family activity today, man. Hey, look, lady. You know we will really in the family wellness here. You're leaving early today, right? This is your day to leave early because you're going to go be with the family, right? Focus on family time. Start a hobby. Go painting. Go to Pino's Palette. Pay for it. Give them a gift certificate that they go there with their family to paint. Provide, encourage them to be involved in a book club, learning something new that's enriching. Find a mentor, have a mentorship. I spoke somewhere the other night. I talked about the power of Tulsa should be known for having a stellar mentorship program in this city. We could turn the world upside down. Mentors for our doctors, support groups for our doctors, mentors for our youth that are going to be our future doctors. Consider Schedule adjustments. I notice now doctors they're not taking appointments on Fridays or a given day. They're not in the office like they were before. Good. Schedule adjustments, okay? Delegate, set limits, get involved. Committees, leadership. Look at taking care of your people. Look, we talked about doctors in crisis. We need to be looking at them. We need to have strategies, skills, and tools for our doctors because there is a destructive pattern going on, but we want to take them from destruction to dignity. We need our doctors. We appreciate you. We love you. We want to help you be encouraged to take care of you. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.